A Mom's Rice Krispies Squares. Now this Rice Krispies Square recipe is only 4 ingredients, and the first ingredient on the list is marshmallows. I use large marshmallows. You can use small marshmallows, and there's a picture of Marshmallow Man. I also used Rice Krispies that we got from the Mennonites. Little fun fact, Rice Krispies trademarked Rice Krispie treats. 40 grams of unsalted butter. I also used 2 tablespoons of pure vanilla. Now it's on medium-low heat, so it does take some time. And the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna melt your butter. Now my mom, she always melted the butter for me, and let's get some nice shots of that butter melting. Look at it. Next thing you're gonna do is you open your large bag of marshmallows and you will throw them in the pot. Now when I was a young boy, this was my job, was to stir the marshmallows so that they didn't burn on the bottom of the pot. Now when I think back to it, stand on a milk crate over the stove, which is extremely dangerous being a chef now, but I trusted my mom. And then you add 2 tablespoons of pure vanilla and then continue mixing it down till all the marshmallows melt. You just gotta constantly keep stirring it as the marshmallows melt so that they don't burn on the bottom. So as a little kid, this was my favorite thing to do. And then you just continue to keep stirring the marshmallows down till they're a marshmallowy goo. But you just want to constantly keep stirring them and mashing them against the corners so that they break down and become this wonderful, gooey, lovely, sugary mix. Now once you have all the marshmallows melted down to about this consistency, you will then turn it down to a minimum. You do want it a little bit hot so it's easier to mix in the Rice Krispies. And then you're gonna add 6 cups of Rice Krispies. As you see, I did not use a measuring cup when adding the Rice Krispies. I've done this many times as a young child. So I know the consistency of marshmallow whiteness to the Rice Krispies when you mix them in. You will realize that I needed to add more, so I continued to keep adding until I got to the right consistency. But 6 cups is about where you want to be at adding the Rice Krispies to the marshmallows. Now once you've added the Rice Krispies to the marshmallows, you will have turned your oven off, and then you will then transport it to a non-stick pan. Now I didn't put parchment paper down this time, and I didn't even grease the pan. I just moved the Rice Krispies straight into the container and then pushed them down with the spoon, which I realized the Rice Krispies were sticking to it. So then I moved to a plastic spatula and patted it all down until it was flat and even. Let it cool for about an hour, and then you cut your squares and enjoy and pull them out for their marshmallow gooiness. Sweet marshmallow Rice Krispie square treat. Memories of me and my mom doing this, which I totally forgot until I actually revisited this recipe, and it's a classic. Mom's Rice Krispie squares are amazing. Enjoy. And here's a little bit of a bonus Rice Krispie squares. This is a different recipe. I use fluff instead of, because I realized in the marshmallows that I did use, they had pork gelatin, and the main ingredient to fluff is egg whites, and that's how you make homemade marshmallows. So it's still 4 ingredients: fluff, Rice Krispie squares, pink Himalayan salt, and unsalted butter. We don't use vanilla this time because the fluff has it added to it. Same procedure of recipe. First, you're gonna melt your 60 grams of butter on medium-low heat, and then you're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of pink salt, and then you're gonna get your jar of fluff ready to be put into the pot, and you're just trying to melt it down a little bit so it's workable and you can mix it into your Rice Krispies. It takes longer to get the fluff out of the jar than actually I find to heat it up because it is pretty sticky and gooey, and you're just adding heat and it's just melting together with the butter. And because it's on medium low heat, I can't take my time here. But then once I get it all mixing in, then you see it starts to rapidly form to melted marshmallows. The same rules apply when you're melting marshmallows. You want to kind of have it on a constant stir so that it doesn't burn the sugar to the bottom of the pot. And I'm just looking for the consistency here of it being nice and smooth and everything incorporated in. And then I will add my 6 cups of Rice Krispies to the pot. I did do 3 at a time because I felt that I wanted a little more marshmallowy, but in the end I did add 6 cups of Rice Krispies and I mixed them all in. And at this time I did turn the heat down to minimum so that it's still hot enough so that the marshmallows don't form, but it's still easy enough to work with. Then I got my tray, parchment papered it this time because it's smarter, and then I put all the marshmallow Rice Krispie squares into the middle of it, and then you evenly spread it out. What I found about FLUFF is that it actually is way more flexible. And then cut your squares to the size that you want. Now I remember my mom, she used to freeze them in little squares and then give them to me as lunch so they'd stay cold and keep my drinks and sandwiches cold at the same time. Smart. And enjoy. And don't forget to grab yourself a copy of Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. It is a traditional cookbook that has been rewritten without the bad foods, especially gluten and no oil. It is 300 pages jammed with recipes and a great textbook to follow. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Notus Foods. We do post a lot more gluten-free and oil-free recipes. And feel free to message us on there. It is a lot easier for us to contact you. Thank you.